What is up, fight fans? So, with it being literally New Year's Eve, I just wanted to give my last minute of the year MMA awards. You know, we got a lot of categories like Fighter of the Year, Comeback of the Year, Upset of the Year, Sub of the Year, KO of the Year, and I want to give out all my awards for all of those categories. And of course, I'm going to start with I'm going to do Upset of the Year. This was a tough one because there was one other upset that I do have on this list, but I don't want to like do the same fighters for each award. I want to make everyone different. So I'll say upset of the year will definitely go to Aljamain Sterling against Piotr Jan because even though the matchup on paper stylistically is close, that's not how the fans saw it because they remembered how the first fight between Aljamain and Peter Yan played out, where Aljamain was being dominated before the illegal knee, which resulted in him becoming champion. And then since then, I mean, he was heavily counted out. He took a year off. Jan went on to destroy Sandhagen for the interim belt. And everyone was saying that Peter Yan was like the pound for pound best fighter in the world. And Aljo just had no chance. There was a lot of Yan by murder comments. And then Aljamain Sterling came back. He flipped the script and he silenced everybody. He may have not got the finish, and it may have been a close split decision. Aljo came out there and he surprised everyone. I mean, I wasn't surprised. I picked Jan. I knew there was a chance Aljo could win, but a lot of people didn't. And Aljo went out there and now he remains the bantamweight champion. And for male fighter of the year, I mean, this is a toss up between two fighters because you could give it to Pahea, you know, for being active 3-0, going from unranked to world champion. And then there's Alex, but I got to give it to Alexander Volkanovski because even though he didn't fight 3 times this year, he had a very impressive 2022. You cannot deny that. He's the only champion to fight this year to not lose a round. I mean, he had one of his best career performances against the Korean Zombie, where he put on an absolute clinic. And then not only that, 3 months later, he then closes that chapter, ends that rivalry with Max Holloway, 3-0. He puts a stamp on that with a dominant performance, and then becomes pound for pound #1 in the summer. I mean, that in my books is worthy of being male fighter of the year. For KO of the year, I'm going to give that to Michael Chandler. There was a lot of impressive KOs this year, but damn, what he did to Tony Ferguson, no one puts Tony out cold like that. And the shot he put him out with, that front kick to the face, damn, yeah, that, for me, it's got to be Chandler. I mean, I know Leon had a badass head kick, but I got to give this one to Iron Mike. And I'm going to say sub of the year will definitely go to Jessica Andrade. Because who does a standing arm triangle from the clinch? What she did to Amanda Lemos was unique and it was unprecedented, unheard of. So for that, Jessica gets sub of the year. And I'm going to say fight of the year. I'll give that to Yuri Prochazka versus Glover Teixeira at UFC 275. That was just a back and forth, wild, action-packed fight for as long as it lasted. So many moments where that fight could have been ended and finished, but it just kept going until eventually we did see one of them get finished, which was Glover in the 5th round. But it was crazy. Yuri hurt him. Glover hurt him. Glover almost finished him on the ground. Yuri almost finished him on the ground. Then he did finish him on the ground. But that fight was like a nail biter that just had me on the edge of my seat. Now, for event of the year, I'm going to give it to, there's 3 events I have in mind. There's 3. There's UFC London, the March one, and then there's UFC 275 in Singapore, and then there was UFC 282, or no, 281. I'm going to give it to, though, because 282 and 275 had thorns in my side, which was Israel losing and then the Shevchenko controversial decision. So there's a bit of bias on my part. I'm going to choose UFC London because that made me happy all the way through, but a lot of finishes on that card, one decision, but a lot of great fights. We saw one of the best KOs ever this year, which was Molly McCann knocking out that Brazilian girl, or I don't know if she's Brazilian, but that was an impressive spinning back fist KO. The Ilia Topuria KO, Patty Pimblett sub, and then Aspinall putting on a clinic over the always dangerous Alexander Volkov like that to end that card. Amazing card. I enjoyed UFC London. And then for comeback of the year, this one definitely has to go to Leon Edwards because he was down in the trenches. He was down on the cards, getting dominated by Kamaru Usman like the first fight. He had nothing for Usman past the first round. It looked like he was done. He was 50 seconds away in that fifth round from being nothing. And out of nowhere lands that left high kick to put the former champ and former pound for pound number one great Usman to bed. First man to knock him out and end that 15 fight win streak in the fifth round where it looked like he was down and out. So for that, definitely comeback of the year, Leon Edwards, to get that fifth round knockout when he was on his way to being 46 by Usman. It's impressive. It's impressive stuff. And then for most improved fighter of the year, I'm going to give this one to Chito Vera. I had Grasso in mind, but I'm not gonna be biased. Grasso definitely would deserve it because she's finally finding her stride and her footing in the women's flyweight division. She's finally putting together a win streak and she's on the cusp of a title shot. But Chito Vera, man, you can't deny how impressive he's been as of late. You know, he's been in the organization for 9 years now. Tomorrow it'll be 9 years, 2014 to 2023. He's had a very spotty UFC career up until recently, 4 wins in a row and, knockouts as well. I mean, two of them have been decisions, but the knockout over Edgar was amazing. The knockout over Cruz, and now he's finally finding his stride in the men's bantamweight division. He's also fought at featherweight, but he's found a home at bantamweight with a 4-fight win streak, and he's in the top 5. And with one more win, if he beats Corey, the title shot, I believe, could be right there for Marlon Chito Vera. And he has maybe future champ potential. Who knows? But now he is consistent and a top fighter in his division. So, yeah, for that, Chito gets most improved fighter of the year. Grasso is definitely a runner-up, though. I would have loved to have picked her, but I can't be biased. And last but not least, female fighter of the year now goes to Magnum Zhang Weili. She redeemed herself after having a dark, ugly 2021, going 0-2 to Rose Namajunas, dropping her belt to her, to then come back this year with 2 awesome finishes. UFC 275, where she dominated and finished former champion Joanna Jędrzejczyk and arch rival Joanna, where she originally went to a split decision with her. 2 years later, knocks her out with an impressive spinning back fist out of nowhere. Insane. And then to regain her title in another dominant performance against Carla Esparza with an incredibly unique crucifix rear naked choke sub. Female fighter of the year definitely has to go to Zhang Weili. But that's it for my of the year awards. It's been not my 2022. I have not had a good year in terms of predictions, results I wanted, but that's life. Here's to a better 2023, and I'm looking forward to it. Peace out.